Hello. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm talking while I'm sitting in the car, and it's a rainstorm right now, so I just thought I would do a follow-up video to my first video on C-Diff, and I know it's been months since I've updated you on my son John's health condition when he got C-Diff last September. He was sick for a few months with C-Diff until he got the procedure done to help him. But I just thought I would, give you a follow-up and let you know that he's fine. He's fine. He's been healed. He's doing great. He ended up the week before Christmas having a fecal transplant, and basically you can research that to find out the details, but he's great. It took months and months of work. I guess you could say just hard work. He had to gain his strength back. He had to learn how to eat again because his stomach had shrunken. So just a recap of the timeline. He had a slap tear in his left shoulder. So he had surgery September the 9th of 2017. Surgery went great, but because he had a little bit of acne on his shoulder, the doctor wanted it cleared up so that he would not get an infection in the incision. So he prescribed doxycycline, which is an antibiotic, hopefully to clear up the acne, but John had a reaction to it. So when I called the doctor to tell him about the reaction, they called in the clindamycin, as I said in the original video. So clindamycin is what my son took that ultimately stripped his gut of good bacteria and allowed the C-Diff bacteria to take over, which is Clostridium difficile. I may have pronounced it wrong, but that's how it's spelled. But anyway, so he, within a week or two, had symptoms, terrible symptoms, basically stomach issues, fever. He just wasn't feeling well, headache. So the way that they tell if you have C-Diff is the stool sample test. So I got him in with a good gastro doctor in Oxford, Alabama, who he went ahead and diagnosed him with C-Diff, and then he took the stool sample and had it sent off, and then we this was like end of one week. The next week we did confirm that it was C-Diff. So the way you treat C-Diff is with Flagyl, and it's basically for every case there's two antibiotics mainly that they treat it with, and vancomycin I think is one of them. We didn't get that far because by the time my son took Flagyl, he is so sensitive to medicine, it made him sicker than the C-Diff did. He would describe the pain. It was just unreal. His head would hurt. He had sensitivity to light. He had sensitivity to sound. He was nauseous. He was still sick with all the C-Diff symptoms as well. So basically, the Flagyl was just terrible. It was a terrible experience. So what I ended up doing then, because of all of this and just the misery, I could see he was miserable. I contacted a pediatric gastro doctor at the Children's Hospital in Birmingham. So we ended up from the Dr. Aniston, then going to the Children's Hospital in Birmingham. Phenomenal doctor, Dr. Metre. The only problem is, basically, he prescribed more medicine, like 6 medicines to treat the symptoms of C-Diff. So we get these 6 medicines, or 5 or 6 medicines filled. My son starts taking them. The symptoms ease off, but the C-Diff isn't gone. So he's still 40 pounds lighter. He still can't gain his weight. He can't hold anything down. He can't eat. He can't drink. No energy because he's malnourished. So I then realized the seriousness of his condition, and what made me, I guess you could say, break. My son told me that, he said, "Mom, I'm dying." He said, "I feel like I'm literally dying." So when he told me that, I knew in his mind he was at peace. He thought he was dying. And that really scared me, because I realized how it had taken its toll on his body. So I just prayed to God. I said, "Please give me the wisdom to find an answer, to just show me something, Lord, please." So I researched and found out about the fecal microbia transplant. Basically, the fecal transplant is where they have donors that come to the hospital or facility, whatever facility it is. These donors are on a special diet, and they donate their own feces. This feces is stored safely in the labs at the hospital or wherever, and they use the feces and do a procedure, basically a colonoscopy. And during the colonoscopy, as they, I guess you could say, run the tube up through your colon to check for, you know, colitis or different things that could have happened while you had the C. diff, as they pull the tube out, they inject the fecal matter. And so, long story short, I found a doctor in Huntsville, Alabama, who was absolutely wonderful. And I'll put the details down below, but when I called this clinic, I was in tears. I was literally grasping at straws. I was desperate, and I asked the operator, could I just please speak to one of the nurses? So she contacted one of the or let me talk to one of the nurses. And I was still crying, and I was explaining to the nurse, I said, "Ma'am, you're our last hope." I said, basically, that my son just told me he's dying. He has C. diff. It is confirmed it is C. diff. And by the way, he had a reoccurrence as well. So we had a lot go on. We thought it had gone away, but it had reoccurred. So I basically begged for a visit. I said, "Could you please see my son and just see if you can help him?" So we go up there to Huntsville. I believe it was 2 weeks prior to Christmas of 2017. And it was, I believe, on a Friday. And she told John, my son, she said, "I understand you've seen Dr. Metre in Children's Hospital, and he gave you some medicines." She said, "Why don't you just stay on all of these medicines, and if you're not better by the 1st of next week," which would be like 4 days later, 3 or 4 days later, she said, "if you're not any better," she said, "I'm going to go ahead and put you down for the fecal transplant next Thursday. But if you are better, you call me Monday or Tuesday and tell me you're better, and we'll just cancel it." She said, "But I will schedule you for that." She said, "Because you've lost a lot of weight." And he was down to skin and bones, basically. Okay, so we go home from Huntsville, and that's about a 3-hour drive, I believe, from where we live in Roanoke. So we get back home. He's on the medicine all weekend. And Monday, he just told me, he said, "Mom, I want to have the fecal transplant." He said, "I've been reading up on it, researching it, and I think that's what we need to do." So we just confirmed the appointment for that following Thursday, which was the week before Christmas. And he had it done that Thursday morning. And basically, like I said, the day prior to, you do the colon cleanse, and they explain how to do it. And it's just like getting a colonoscopy. You've got to, clean your body out. And then the next day, we were at the hospital, Huntsville Hospital, at like 4 or 5 a.m., I believe. Maybe 6 a.m., but it was real early in the morning. Everything went so smoothly. My son was in good spirits. We were too, and they took him back. He may have been back an hour, hour and a half at the most, and the doctor then came out and got us and called us to the side and explained what happened. And she said that when they checked him, he had no colitis, no further complications, thank God, from all of the sickness he had endured. And she said that as she removed the tube, she injected about a Coke can size amount of the donated feces. And she said he was resting peacefully. Obviously he was sedated, so he was resting, and they, if I heard correctly, make you lay on your side so that your colon absorbs or colonizes the new fresh healthy bacteria, because that's what you're trying to do, is replenish the bacteria that you've lost, the good bacteria. And once he laid there, I guess 30 minutes or so, he was ready to go. And he didn't remember anything because, like I said, he was sedated. And we wheeled him out in a wheelchair, got in the car, and came home. He ate a steak dinner on the way home. First time he'd eaten a solid meal. I can't even tell you how long it had been. So he had a wonderful, wonderful experience with this doctor in Huntsville, Alabama. So I just wanted to follow up and let you know that he's doing great now. Today is actually July the 7th or 8th. I don't even know. It's the week of July 4th, 2018. But he's doing wonderful. He's back playing travel baseball. He loves it. He's hoping one day to go to college and play ball. And, you know, and like I said, after the procedure, people thought he was healed because he ate the steak dinner on the way home. I think his body was just starving. But it took probably from Christmas to February, middle of February, before he could actually eat solid food again. So it took time because the stomach had shrunken. And he was just, I think his body was just, they talk about brain fog, and they talk about different side effects of all the medicines, and just, you know, depression from side effects of medicines, and depression from being sick, and depression from having to miss school, and depression from, you know, being just stuck in the house. So he had a lot going on. But I just wanted all of you to know that if you are dealing with C. diff infection, and if you've lost a significant amount of weight because you can't eat, can't drink, there is hope. And that hope, first of all, is in the Lord, because God showed me who to call to get these phenomenal results. But pray about it, and, you know, use the brain God gave you. Call around wherever state you live in and see if any hospitals or facilities offer these services. Some places don't. You know, we opted to go to Huntsville, Alabama to get this done because of the high success rate. And the always research when you do check on these doctors and these facilities. So do your research, and just know there's hope if you have C. diff, and it's through the fecal transplant, fecal microbia transplant. Was absolutely a godsend, and it saved my son's life. He's gained about 7 pounds back. He dropped from 200 pounds down to about 159. Now he's back up to about 167, something like that. But it's like he's gaining muscle. So I told him, I said, see, God was just getting you in shape for baseball. So he said, yeah, I probably have a 0% body fat right now. But he's doing really good, and I wanted you all to know that, and just know that there's hope. And those of you struggling with C. diff and you have it reoccurring, and you can't treat this forever with these medicines. Like I said, if I had not gotten sense enough to contact that doctor in Huntsville, he would probably still be having C. diff reoccur, because it is awful. If you research, if you have C. diff, hopefully you've researched about it as well, and you know it's a spore. You know, it's just very hard to kill the C. diff bacteria. So you really need to focus on taking probiotics. As John still has to take probiotics. Probiotics, research those as well. You can get those at any store over the counter. That's a good idea, no matter if you have C. diff or not, to keep your good bacteria up in your gut. Promotes, you know, good health. So if I can help you all with any questions you may have, any comments you may have, leave them below, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. It's been a busy year. We've just been rejoicing in the fact that he's better, and we've been enjoying each other's time, and just we're just so blessed that God saw fit to heal him. And I know it was the Lord. I had so many people praying all over the southeast, and it was truly just a miracle. But if I can help you all, please leave a message in the comments below, and I'll do what I can to help you. Thank you so much. Bye.